Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Zach at it again. I'm your host, Zach Cooley, and I'm honored to have my friend and fellow author, Dwight Hines, on the phone with me. He has written a very special memoir about how music has affected his life and career, and it is more of a spiritual journey than anything else, and it's a very inspiring story. Thank you, Dwight, for talking to me today.
Hey, Zach, how you doing? Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, you are somebody that I met as we were talking earlier almost 9 years ago. You came to see me at my house with your lovely wife, Christy, and my dear friend of more than a quarter of a century, your mother-in-law, Miss Carol Branch, who is the reason we are connected today, and I'm very grateful for that. In just a very brief book, a very small book, you explain your journey, your spiritual journey through music, and that was truly an amazing thing. And you sent me the book, and I read the book and did the article, but I said we weren't going to sit down and talk about it until I had done everything that was required of me as the reader to do in your book, because you asked a lot of the reader. You ask the reader to go on the journey with you, and you ask special questions about music in their life, and you ask us to journal about that. So I didn't want to sit down with you until I had done all the journaling and listened to all the songs and went through that. So I went on that journey with you, and it was quite a journey. So thank you for that.
Oh, you ready to listen to all the songs, huh?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How did it make you feel?
I am anxious to hear you sing, brother.
Hey, look, man, I can do a little something here and there. I'm not America's Got Talent yet. I'm not in that area yet. But if I have to, especially if I'm singing a guy, most importantly, I don't care how I sound.
Exactly.
Anything is great singing to him. So I'm a stellar when it comes down to singing for him.
Exactly, but you're singing and you're saying you sound like people like Marvin Sapp. So I want to hear that sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm in the spirit, then I'm getting it. If I'm in the spirit, I sound like everybody.
Right.
That you can think of.
Singing for God.
Absolutely, 100%. And again, it's a lot of people that can sing from the bottom of their heart or from wherever they're at, especially if they're in pain. If they're in pain and they want God to hear them, they're gonna sing. They're gonna find any way to sing, to worship, or for God to get, for God to come and help them in any way, shape, or form. And that form was me of singing, me getting to the point of singing.
Yeah, and not just singing for you. You have played the drums since what age? 8 years old?
Yeah, 8 years old. 8 years old. Yes, sir.
And so first of all, let me just back up and say, how did the opportunity come to you to write this story?
Oh man, Zach, I've been DJing since 2014.
Mm-hmm. That's the year we met, by the way.
Maybe see, see how this works. So, I started DJing at 14, and I knew of DJing from my family. My family background is DJ. There were like DJs, backyard DJs, bedroom DJs, and things like that. So, I was always around music. I was surrounded by music a lot of times. So me being surrounded by music, I didn't think that I was going to be taking this on. But I also asked myself, like, hey, what can I do for as music to make this a business and also help change lives through music? And it started from there. But what made me start this book or write this book was there were some challenges that I was facing. 8 years later, when the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, I was facing challenges of my health, of my own health, and I was really forced. So I was DJing for everybody, Zach, right? I was DJing for companies, for corporations, for organizations, for people, places, and things. but I didn't really understand how important music was. I knew that it was helping everyone else, but when the pandemic started, it really helped me personally, in ways that I never thought it would help me. And that's where the book started, because I was like, man, I wonder if somebody else is going through the same thing that I'm going through. I wonder if someone else experienced music the way I experienced music. And since writing the book, I've been receiving so many reviews on the same thing. Like, man, God's been placing music on my heart the same way, and this is how he used me in this way.
You know, I wanted to share when I completed all the journaling and how music has moved me through my life, I sent that to you just so you could see that I went through the whole thing, and it was very, you know, songs and music, no matter what, it is a very spiritual journey. If you open yourself up to that, especially, and so I'm glad that you're receiving what you hope to receive when you put the book out. Was that a self-published venture, or did you?
Halfway. I did have a company called 90 Day Publishing Company. A good friend of mine. She helped me publish the book. She helped me because, again, Zach, it was only supposed to be an ebook. It wasn't supposed to be a hardcover book.
Right.
It was only going to be an ebook. But I also had to think about it, and I'm like, I don't want someone to print out 100 pages. And some people don't have printers. Some people will have to go to a nearby store, office store, to print out. I don't want to do that.
$1 a page, yeah.
That's correct. I'm already having you purchase the ebook. I don't want you to buy more paper. So I partnered up with a good friend of mine, and she actually helped me put this thing together at a very affordable price. And now it's you can receive it from me personally, or you can receive it on Amazon. So it's a great tool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. But let's talk about a bit of your life story. You were born in Queens, New York, but you were born at a time when hip hop was coming up, and that was sort of the place where that type of music was flourishing. So was that some of the first music you heard in the beginning of your life?
Yes. So where I'm originally from is South Jamaica, Queens. Mm-hmm. So if anybody knows anybody knows 50 Cent, he's an artist. He's a A-list celebrity. He's also a well-known rapper. He's from Southside Jamaica, Queens. So I was literally 3 or 4 blocks away from where he used to live, and that was a very well-known area of hip hop, of crime or violence. So hip hop was one of the things that I grew up surrounded by.
Yeah. So did you know him personally, or just?
I didn't. I knew the family. I knew his family. I knew people of 50 Cent, but I never met him personally, or I've never seen him personally.
But anyway, you were born at a place called small town. People that are going to read this, read what I have written or hear this, they are not, mostly will not be aware of how dangerous the streets were.
And one thing about this, the neighborhood, even to this day, Zach, I was just on a phone call with a good friend of mine that still lives in that area.
Yeah.
And they said how there's crime still going on there. They're telling me, hey man, I need to leave. I need to leave the neighborhood. I need to go. And I'm asking them, what's stopping you? So this is things that's happening out there. I grew up in an era where, growing up in the 90s and again, that's when hip hop was being birthed. I'm 30, 45 minutes away from the birth of hip hop, which is in Bronx, New York. Mm-hmm. So I'm far further from that. But I also had a foundation of growing up in church and listening to gospel music and Christian music. That was also birthed in me at the same exact time.
Yes, and that was the next thing I was coming to. Your mother, Nadine Hines, she would lead her church choir. You would walk 5 miles to and from church every Sunday. And your mother would sing the hymn, I Won't Complain. And she dealt with a lot of chronic pain, a lot of sickness, particularly later in her life. But somehow or another, she always made church, and she would always sing. You say in the book, it's like when she touched the mic, all her pain was gone. And your father was also very instrumental in your life with spiritual music. So you had that combative as well. But your mother and father were both very talented musicians, singers in their own right, correct?
That's correct. My father was more into old school R&B music.
Yep, me too.
And my mom, all she knew was church music. Like, she knew R&B and stuff.
Right.
My mom, she really didn't. She didn't really sing in that area. She was more into gospel music. She adored gospel music so much. So that was, I had the best of both worlds. When I would go to church, it felt like every Sunday I was going to a concert.
Yeah.
And my mom can tell you, she always would say, Mom never made it to the big stage, but she always had the stage at church. Church was her stage.
Yeah.
Like, she loved to sing. Everybody came to church, of course, to hear the word, but they also came to see her. They also came to hear her sing. So when she travels to different states and when she travels to different cities and just to sing on behalf of our church, people will really enjoy that. There are no, she's not on a flyer. She's not on anything like that. But once they know and the word gets around that Nadine Hines is going to be there and she's going to sing, everybody was coming.
Yeah, in some cases, the music is the service. And I would say, not having heard your mother, I would say it sounds like that she was, her music was the service in a lot of time, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. It's as soon as, before the pastor would get up to preach, our pastor would ask my mother to get up and sing a solo or have a sermonic selection, because she raised the atmosphere. She raised it, she lowered it, she mellowed the atmosphere, or whatever that might have been going on. She also set the tone for the pastor. So just in case the pastor didn't know where to go for his speech, my mom was able to set the tone for the pastor, just in case, he needs to go into a certain direction. So her being called to sing wasn't just, hey, I just want to hear your voice, or this is your job. No, like, she was really gifted and anointed to sing, and I think that's what implemented me in the music way to minister. I minister as I DJ. I'm not just playing one song for the next. I love to minister because that's what my mom was doing. My mom was ministering to people. My mom was healing pain from people that was having a bad day that morning, that might have had a bad week, that might have had a breakup, that might have had something going on, and they couldn't wait to get to Sunday just so they can hear my mom. And that's kind of how I use my tool of DJing. If somebody was going through something, I know that an event is coming up, I would give it everything I got because I know how important music is. And 9 times out of 10, someone come up to me and say, "Hey, man, you made the rest of my week, and I was looking forward to having a good time, and you just made it better."
And she's still singing, right?
She's still singing. Yes, she's still singing. Do I want her to come back out, Zach? Yes, I would love for. I need her to come back out. I'm gonna send you a link to one of her songs. It is, but every time, Zach, I hear the song, I still cry to this day. I still cry. And she sung this song in our church over 13 years ago, and it was recorded and put on YouTube over 13 years ago, I believe. And every time I hear the song and I feel like I need to have a breakthrough, I'll play this song and I send and it's my mother. And I tell my mother all the time, "Mom, you need to come back out. You need to come back out. People need to hear your voice." People need to hear your voice.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope she does. Now, your father, it was a little bit of a different situation. You really enjoyed hearing him sing, but it was more of, I guess this is where the DJ aspect of your musical background comes in. He was more about, hey, fella, what do you think of this song, and playing this or that. And
yes.
He would be dancing to the live shows that you would put on YouTube, and it would say, "Hey, you almost broke my hip tonight." I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you went through some very difficult times because your father. I mean, you're still young. Your father passed away very young. Your parents separated. That was very difficult because you come from a big family, right?
Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 4 brothers.
What kinds of things did music do for you in those particular times? Like,
yeah. So, I think Zach, what it really did for me, man, is I was feeding music to people that were going through situations. But I didn't really understand how important it was and what it can do for me until I was sick, right? I didn't know. I was playing for different companies, organizations, and stuff like that, and I didn't know. Like, I knew what it was doing for them in that moment, but of course I would go home filled, but I didn't really get to experience that until the pandemic, until COVID, and March 20th of 2020 is when I lost my job.
Nice.
And then literally right after that, a week or so later, we were supposed to be locked down in our homes due to COVID-19. And then as I'm DJing, as I'm playing music, as we had the freedom as DJs to provide music on platforms of Facebook and Instagram, I can DJ 4 hours at a time, and every 4 hours they would shut you off, but then you're able to come back on and still DJ. So I would do that at least, let's say, 12 hours a day, mostly sometimes throughout COVID, just to provide music. And I wasn't just playing music, Zach. I was performing these songs. So when I'm going live, and as my dad said, you're hurting my hip, or you're breaking my hip, it's because I performed these songs. Like, I wasn't just playing one song to the next and you just hearing it. No, I actually grabbed the towel. I actually grabbed the mic, and I lip sync these songs. So you can see the sweat coming off my face. You can see me lip syncing these songs. You can literally hear me scream at the top of my lungs when a certain song comes on. So I understood how that was happening, but not knowing that as soon as I got off of DJing or performing, that I was hurting. That I was in pain, that I could barely stand up, that my chest was on fire. Yep. I could barely drink. Like, I had ginger ale and crackers on the table while I was performing. I could barely eat that, Zach.
Yep. You got very, very sick. You were experiencing sharp chest pains. You lost 50 pounds. Did they ever give a definitive diagnosis as to what it was?
No, so and guess what? This is when I was coming to visit Mama Carol. But guess what they told me, Zach? They said, "Hey, have you heard of a word called anxiety? Have you heard of anxiety?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm one of the happiest men, one of the happiest men alive. I don't know what anxiety is. And it was like, hey, you might want to research and look up what anxiety is, because that's what your body is processing, and that's what your body is going through. Your body's in shock. Your body's trying to figure out what is it going through, or why is it experiencing the pain or the suffering that it's experiencing, because it never experienced this before. So going through this, they never told me exactly what I was going through and the pain that I was enduring. So as this time was going, fast forward to when my dad was passing with the music. Again, that song, "My Soul Has Been Anchored in the Lord." That song, I remember, Zach, my dad was singing this song. I was 8 or 9 years old, and he was singing the song from the top of his lungs. And the storms keep on raging in my life. Sometimes it's hard to tell from night from day. And I didn't realize how important that part of this song is, the way my father was singing it, until I had to keep playing that song on repeat when he was passing away.
Right.
So when he was passing away, or when he was still on the machine, and I was playing the song to soothe his spirit, the machines just went off. The monitors went off. His blood pressure was raising. Everything was going off, and I was asking the doctor, said, "Hey, doctor, what's going on? Why is he moving uncontrollably?" And they said, "Well, it may be just because he's responding to the medicine." But I knew what it was. God knew what it was, and He was showing us that my dad was responding to one of his most favorite songs that he would sing to us as kids.
Right. Right.
So that's what music is very strong. So it helped me through my transition of feeling in pain and suffering, and my acid reflex, because that's what they told me what it was.
Right.
It was acid reflex, and then going, fast forward 2 years later, to my dad passing away, and we had to use that very same song that I was hearing him sing from 8 to 9 years old. I had to use that very same song for his last breath.
Do you feel in any way that God sort of gave you that affliction so that you could feel that and feel what his music can actually do for you? Does that?
Yes, I believe so, because again, I've sung so many songs from the top of my lungs. If I'm feeling a certain way, or if I need to release some stress, I will go to I have some songs, handpicked songs that I would pick. Not the songs in the book, or there'd be some other gospel songs. There'd be some other songs that my mother would sing, and I would have these certain songs, but I never had to experience it the way I've been experiencing music the past 3 years. Another reason is there was once upon a time where I stopped listening to hip hop and rap. I stopped listening to it for 2.5 years.
Exactly.
So in order for me to fully experience what God was trying to help me listen to, or to listen to the words again, start listening to the lyrics of each song that I was listening to, putting puzzles and pieces together. Also, I mentioned in the book too, Zach, about when I was listening to a pastor online, Mr. Pastor Mike Todd, and he was talking about the word anchor, and that song anchored, like the word anchored. If I didn't listen to the message of the word anchored, it wouldn't link me to my dad's song, "My Soul Has Been Anchored in the Lord." So if there's a sermon that Mr. Pastor Mike Todd talks about with storms and being anchored, if you look that up on YouTube, it linked up to the song of Douglas Miller talking about how the storms keep raging in his life. And if I didn't catch that message of what God was bringing me, that message of Pastor Mike Todd, then I would never caught the song, and I would never been able to play the song for my dad at the moment that it was needed the most.
And if you hadn't made that connection, yeah.
That's correct. So, yeah, I do believe that God did use music in a way, because I was using music for everyone else, that I needed to experience that gift that he gave me for myself.
For yourself, exactly. Now you have how many children?
Two beautiful babies. Two beautiful ladies. I'm sorry, not babies. They're still my babies.
Oh, yeah.
Two beautiful ladies.
Yep. I only have the one, and I tell her she'll be my baby till the day I leave this world.
That's right.
So I know exactly how you feel. Being a girl dad is the greatest thing in the world.
Greatest thing in the world.
You challenge your readers to do the Music Gets Me Through challenge, which is a 30-day journey of listening to a single genre for 10 days while journaling how each one makes you feel. As you say in the book, it will help you understand what each song and genre is doing for you. How does it make you feel during the day? How do you feel when you listen to it when you wake up in the morning? How do you feel when you go to bed listening to that? And that also, through doing that challenge, is why you gave up rap or hip-hop for over 2.5 years. And I hope people are doing that and getting a response from it. Are you hearing from people who are doing that and changing their lives?
Not so I haven't spoken to anyone yet regarding that because I want to make that a huge community. I want to do that as a community. So if some people have done it, that's amazing. I haven't received any responses yet because I would like to wait until a good amount of people grab the book,
right?
And then they do the challenge, and then we can share their experiences together as a community, and then we can also do a 30-day challenge amongst each other because there are certain genres that I would love for all of us to do, as far as instrumental. That's another form of music. Going outside, listening to the trees and nature, that's another form of music.
Yes.
Meditation, that's another form of music. So there are different ways to experience music versus just listening to a beat with some lyrics. There's more to that.
Right. And I want to, before we close out, I want to talk about your wife for a little bit, Christy. You and her.
Please do.
You and her been married how long?
We've been married 8 years. Next week, be 8 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And Christy, like her mother, is a lovely woman, and I have profiled her before in her brave battle with lupus. And
yes.
She is continuing to work hard for the Lupus Foundation. So we want to put that out there, too. Anybody that wants to donate to the Lupus Foundation, that helps people in ways that donors cannot understand. So
yeah.
So
absolutely, and Zach just announced as well that we are putting our boots back on this year. We are lacing our boots back up, and we're going back to. We took a couple of years off, of course, due to COVID, but we're lacing our boots up this year and head into our annual. I believe this will be because it stopped, but if it was to continue, it'll be our 12th or 13th year doing it. So we're lacing our boots back up, and we're heading out to Charlotte. I believe October is when an annual Lupus Foundation walk is. It's no longer in Raleigh. They are going to do it in Charlotte this year. So if anybody, of course, is interested in walking with us or donating, please reach out to Zach, and Zach will reach out to me.
Yeah, Charlotte is closer to me, so I might actually be able to make it this time around.
Yeah, we would love to have you. Yeah. But of course, remember, we can't surprise Mama Carol.
No, I'll let her know ahead of time if I'm coming. We can't have anybody keeling over or anything.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, so, thank you so much for talking to me. As I said, when I met you, as when I met Carol and your wife, I knew that you all were very special people, but I did not know how special you were, sir, till I read your book. And having done that and followed your journey, I'm very proud to say that I know you, my friend.
I want to say thank you. I thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your lovely podcast. I'm very proud of you, sir. I'm proud of everything that you're doing. Again, when I first met you and Mama Carol told me about you, of course, she was smiling ear to ear when she talked about you. So I'm like, Mom, like you have two sons now. Like, who is this third son that you're smiling over all the time? And you know, I was a little bit jealous. You know that?
Oh, is that right?
I had to come see my brother for myself. So when I saw you, man, and I've seen the things that you were doing, and I've seen the articles that you were creating. I was seeing the community that you have out in the area that you're in. You inspired me, man. And when you told me, and I read the things that you sent me, I'm just very, very inspired and honored to be a part of this journey with you. And you're very talented, very gifted, and we love everything that you're doing. So that's why I'm so glad to be here and to talk to you.
Well,
and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be your friend and to be a part of your extended family, because I love all of you very much.
We love you as well.